everybody, it's Kim and Jennifer from Fleece and Harmony Woolen Mill in Belfast, Prince Edward Island.
Right.
Hope you're doing great today. You're watching this, if you're right on the beginning, getting your notifications, November 22nd, 2019, which is episode 26, which means that this is the final episode before we have our first year anniversary.
Ah, it's our birthday.
Yes,
Okay.
well, next episode is our birthday.
Right.
So it's really, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
A year has whizzed by, and we've been actually able to publish every 2 weeks.
I know, actually, we haven't missed one.
Not
Were we a day
yet.
late once?
Uh,
I don't think we even were. We
No.
might have been a couple hours late
yes,
one time or
we
something.
had internet problems.
Ugh, I don't
Downloading
remember,
problems.
but yeah.
So high five.
Yeah.
We made it through. We did it. Well, it's not over yet. We still have this one to do. So, and I don't know if you'll be kind on the editing, if I'm pulling this down, because I have these kind of short-waisted jeans on, and this top is
I'm sure
not
it's
really
black,
that-
you won't be able to see it, but I'm...
but I'm worried that there's going to be a big flash white.
Oh, no.
no.
Oh, gosh. Well, I look like I'm crying because I was just
Laughing.
crying tears of laughter a few
Yeah.
minutes before
As
this.
Nanny Wenzel used to say, you're not laughing, you're crying.
Or both.
Yeah. So the introduction today is that we're going to talk about the Cocoknits project, because I've made some progress with that, and I'll just remind people right now there is a string on our thread on Ravelry for that. We have finished objects. So the finished Virgo shawl will be shown, and I have all kinds of updates on Joe Batt's arm. And then we have the regular other things. We have a shop update. We have Ask Us Anything. We're going to talk a little bit about the Fiber Festival.
It's jam-packed.
It's a jam-packed
I've
episode.
done a ton of knitting too, and like a ton of mistakes.
Right. lots of mistakes and lots of knitting. And so I think that's it.
Yeah.
So we'll just mention that if you are joining us for the first time, welcome. We own a sheep farm and woolen mill in Belfast, Prince Edward Island. And if you're joining us again, because you've been with us since the beginning, then welcome back. And if you like what you hear and see, then you can give us a thumbs up and like us, and subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, because
on
now
YouTube.
we're loading tutorials separately and stuff too, so subscribing would really help.
Yeah.
Make sure you get everything.
That's right. Yeah. So I didn't. Usually we do a little farm update and weather report, but there's not really nothing to say.
Just blah through on till April now.
Yeah, that's it. So unless there's some kind of big snowstorm,
Right.
which we're not hoping for,
A lovely blizzard of some type.
yes, then this is kind of it now for the duration. The sheep have all been sorted out into their winter groups and paddocks and whatever, and
Eating to stay warm.
yep, and we are in control of the feed from here on in, because we're feeding our own forage that we took off our fields in the summer. So there's not much else. We only talk about the weather and food. And mostly, so
Yeah.
that's it. So, and you know what? We're very happy if nothing exciting happens.
That's right.
From now on in.
Boredom is good
Boredom
from now
is
until
good, yeah.
May long weekend.
Right, exactly. So I guess we'll just get right to the finished objects.
Great.
Okay, so we've got a huge pile of stuff out of the shot of
It's
the
like
camera.
all of a sudden we knit up a storm. I
Yeah.
don't know what happened.
And Virgo, I think that maybe you should do yours first. Because you are the only one that has finished
I was going
objects.
to be like, wait, do you what?
So the Virgo shawl is at the bottom of the pile, unfortunately.
we're super organized and
Yeah.
it's huge. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
All
I
right.
have extricated it from its position at the bottom of the giant pile of wool stuff. Okay, so what I had left to do was put this fringe on,
Yeah.
which I love.
It makes the project,
I think it makes the project. Now, several people have knit it and they said they're not fringe people and they don't
Yeah.
came out wrong, but they're not interested in being on the fringe. But it also makes the shawl, which is still already a lovely size.
Right.
It's a 1,000-yard project, but it makes it look even more substantial and cozy.
Yeah.
I love it.
Mm-hmm. And not to point out anything, but the little bit of work that you had to do is still not blocked, eh?
It isn't?
No.
Oh, God, it's still not done.
It's done. It's done.
I forgot that part.
I just didn't want anybody to think that it all got crinkly all of a sudden, but
gosh, I forgot to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, so I was going to steam block it. How easy is that?
yeah. Anyway,
Man.
no.
Anyways, there's enough
It's
yarn
beautiful.
to finish it to size, and I didn't even gauge swatch on this.
No.
I didn't want to confess to that last time because there was a little bit of a snafu around how much yarn one might have left at the end.
Right.
And
And I think you had a little bit left even after
I
the
still
fringe,
had some left.
Right.
Even after the fringe.
And it's the full size from the
It's
pattern.
the full size. I did make the fringe 12 inches instead of 15,
Oh, okay.
which would have been
Yeah.
really extravagant.
Yes.
I just couldn't find a book that big.
Yeah.
No other reason really, but
For
I
a
think
template.
I think then maybe the yarn would have gotten tight, but there's no prescription for how frequently you put the fringe on. You
Right.
would just sort of evenly distribute. I had a ton of fringe left actually in my bag by the time I was done.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, it's
beautiful.
2 balls of ELDON lace in any color you would like. I think people have made it in almost every color that we make it in. It's just a wonderful cozy. I actually don't even want to take it off, but it clearly does not match with this top I'm wearing, so I will.
So that made the rounds around the table last night at knit night.
Yeah.
And it was pretty unanimous that it was a very snuggly but lightweight project.
Yeah.
So it's a great,
Snuggly but light. That's
Yeah.
something to describe it.
yeah.
And so then I went off on a completely indulgent sidetrack, which has nothing to do with anything.
Was that part of the plan? We talked about your plan
No,
last
this
time.
was
No,
not part
okay.
of the plan. This
All right.
was part of a little temper tantrum I had about one of my whips.
Okay.
Because you know me.
Not that that never happens.
You know me and my knitting temper tantrums. There's one every project.
Yeah.
And this was another temper tantrum.
Oh.
A little one.
Okay.
So I don't have a temper tantrum. I got frustrated. Okay. So this is called the Irish braid cap, and
Super cute.
Yeah, I will put the designer's name below, but it's through actually a yarn company, Swans Island. So I hope they don't mind that I knit it in Mayak.
Okay.
It's a really nice yarn, and I just thought I should use it for something. I got into a little bit of a fight with my sock, which I'm going to talk about during whips, and then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to knit this hat. Maybe I needed something for
So
knit night.
it's kind of a meditation then.
Yeah. So, but this is a really cute pattern.
It is very cute.
And should I
the
put it
edging
on?
is really nice.
It'll probably wreck my hair or something
Oh.
terrible, but I'll just, and I have a ponytail, but it's really cute.
Yes, very cute.
So obviously this is knit sideways, the braid. But there's, in my opinion, a mistake in the pattern because one should have said that you should have cast on provisionally.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you get back here, you should really be able to Kitchener stitch the live stitches together and have an invisible seam, which the pattern tells you to do, but it didn't say to cast on provisionally. And I probably could have figured that out myself. But I feel like it's good when a pattern tells you how to make the thing.
Yeah. All the details.
All the details, yeah. So it was kind of a dumb move on my part, but also it didn't say. And so you would provisionally cast on 28, knit this lovely band, graft it together invisibly, which would have lined up perfectly with the
Right.
braid. I'm a little bit disappointed about the whole mess, to be honest. And then you pick up around here and knit the top of the cap.
So, but that's part of our role, I think, is to talk about how
We
take
screw
watch
up.
outs. Yeah, and watch outs for people. Wait till we get to the Joe Batt's arm.
Yeah, like I
Like just
just
tips and tricks.
I just feel like I'm disappointed that you wouldn't just put the word provisional
Yeah.
in front of the CO. Because
But then you should probably post it on Ravelry
Yes,
and give your comments on that. So.
And I know, of course, I knew this was sideways. I probably could have thought of that, but sometimes I'm just like, well, maybe there's some magical way that you can Kitchener stitch live stitches to a cast on that I just don't know about yet.
Yeah.
And it's going to come out the same.
Well,
No.
people will tell us.
I make assumptions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if there is one, then I missed the boat, but those weren't the instructions that were provided
No.
for Kitchener stitch in the pattern then.
No.
So, you know,
And
sometimes
could
it's
you
me
have-
and sometimes it's the pattern.
So in some of the blueprint classes that I've taken, and it talks about picking up and knitting and joining pieces of work and everything. So could you have made the join further in on the pattern, or would that have messed up the alignment of the cable? So instead of sewing right on the cast on and the bind, did you bind off as well?
Mm-hmm.
Cast
No,
on.
no bind off.
So you did join the
I
live
did
stitches.
live to cast on.
Yeah, could you have gone in a row?
Sure.
Would that have made a difference? I don't know. It might have messed up the alignment.
I would have had to create live stitches on here somehow. And you mean like pick up along just below the cast on and create like a live line of stitches kind of. I probably could have done that.
Yeah, I don't know if it would work or not.
Yeah, me either. Anyway, it's got a little seam. Many hats do. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
But that's the Irish braid cap, and it's very cute. And it was really, really fun.
It was fast.
Very fast.
You did it in one day, like one evening, right?
Yeah, and Mayak, if you haven't tried it, it's a nice soft yarn. It's made with, this is the baby yak.
Yeah.
I don't know what the actual base is called, but yeah, lovely. Okay.
All right. So those are the finished objects.
Yes.
That was quick.
Oh.
The next part won't be as quick.
Right.
Okay. So you should talk about your whips first. You've got 2.
Okay.
Works in progress.
So sock. So I'm loving, first of all, the stitch pattern and the color. This is our sock yarn in Midway, and this is, I think it's pronounced Celaeno or something like that. It's a Greek word. It has something to do with Pleiades. Nobody knew how to pronounce it last week, and we're not any further ahead this week, but it's a pattern by Ash Alberg, which we already talked about last time. But I did not know it was toe up. When I talked about it even on the last episode, I had no idea. I hadn't looked at the thing other than the finished picture, and off I went. And boy, did I get this turned around.
Yeah, and you only knit bottom.
I've never knit a toe up sock before.
Top down socks are the socks that you like to knit.
Top down are the socks I like to knit, because those are the ones I have knit.
Yeah.
And we all know how I feel about convoluted cast-ons. So, you know, if it says something weird about the cast-on, I like to do a cable cast-on. I'm like really a little bit narrow-minded about the whole thing, and I don't like one-handed left-hand macrame, which is how I refer to long-tail cast-ons and all those ones where you're
twisting,
doing this, and I can't seem to perceptually figure that out very easily from a video. So the first line on this was Judy's Magic Cast-On. I don't know Judy.
Yeah.
I have never done a toe-up sock, so this meant nothing to me. So it was like cast-on 28. Remember now.
So you assumed it was just a regular cast-on.
Well, I just replaced it.
Because
if you give me a convoluted cast-on, that's what I'm going to do to you.
No, but you also didn't know for sure that it was, you didn't know that it was a toe-up.
No, I cast on 28. Well, let me tell you, that was a very small hole for my leg.
Yeah.
So this is exactly how this went down. Because it's a square toe, so that might sound like a lot for the Judy aficionados in the world. Yeah. So I kind of had something that was like not a toe, but not a leg either. But in my mind, it's a top-down sock at this point.
Right.
So I've got this little tiny hole. So in the cable cast-on, and I'm like, okay, clearly there's something about this cast-on, like it's super loose or blah, blah, blah. So let me just go look up Judy for a minute.
Yeah.
So I go and I find a video and I kind of watch just enough of it to figure out that you're casting on kind of like top and bottom for every one. So I'm thinking, oh, so it's actually 56. This is how my mind worked on this. I'm just making this up as I go along at this point to avoid getting intimate with Judy.
Yeah.
So then I cast on 56. I'm going around and following the pattern and I'm like, why does my sock have absolutely no ribbon? Why is the top of my sock completely blank? What? This is weird, right? Because I'm knitting the toe, but it didn't say it was a toe.
And now 56 stitches kind of makes sense.
That's a sock to me. So I'm like, why does this have no ribbing? So I'm cursing everybody. I'm texting Rachel and cursing. I'm over at Kim's cursing. And I'm like, I don't know what I've done, but this cannot be right. And you've never had one with as many as 28 on the toe up.
No.
So that didn't make sense.
Because I do like knitting toe up socks, actually. But I've never had one where you cast on 28.
So I finally sent a text to Ash that said, how are we grafting this hole together? Like, so then I had figured out, okay, now it must be a toe.
Yeah.
But I'm like, how are we grafting this together? And Ash was like, there's no grafting. I don't know what you're doing over there. But so I was like, oh God. Now I've been a pain in the butt. I don't want to admit I don't know what's going on. So finally I watched the entire Judy's Magic Cast On video And I prefer written instructions. You know, people learn differently. And so I looked up the written version. There was like 14 lines. And I sent this text to Rachel that was basically like, if it's so freaking magic, why is it 14 lines? If it was magic, it would be like 1 line of instructions. Am I right? Well, anyway, the magic part is that it graphs as it casts on.
I was trying to convince her. You'll be impressed at how elegant it actually is when you finish it.
And it's actually very, very easy. And apparently everybody knows about Judy except me, because 2 years ago or whatever, Judy was all the rage. I have no idea. God bless you, Judy. It is a brilliant thing. No disrespect, but you can see how a knitter can get completely off track.
Kind of like the telephone game.
Yeah.
Because you get down a path
even
and then you're...
somebody who's knit, you know, Barochois and all of these things, and people are like, oh, but I can't do... Well, I could barely survive the toe with a sock. So that all happened. So away I go. I've got the lovely toe. I'm not worried. There's no ribbing, blah, blah, blah. I get to the part where the cabling starts. Stitch pattern, super straightforward. The cables are all, you know, the chart's very easy to read. Somehow in my mind, I think I'm doing a leg. I'm cabling all the way around. I show up at knit night, I have this thing, this foot cabled all the way around. And I'm like saying to Kim, I go, you know, I'm really happy to have learned Judy's magic cast on, and this is a beautiful pattern, but I really don't think I can get through this. I'm doing this on 2mm needles because I could tell the sizing, it's for an 8 inch.
You have very thin feet.
I have very thin feet, and it's 8 inches around, but I need negative ease. So my foot is exactly 8 inches. So I want my sock to be like 6 inches.
Right.
So I went down to a 2mm. So I'm here cabling the chart 4 times around on 2mm needles that I only have in metal, and it's slippery sock yarn. And I'm just like, I actually don't know. I don't know if I can take this. This is a lot of cabling. And it looks really big. So I bring it out to knit night, and Jennifer Hicks says, well, take some stitches out of the foot. And I'm like, well, I can't take it out of the foot. It's all charted. She goes, no, like the foot. I said, well, I can't take it out of the foot, Jennifer. It's a chart. Like, I don't want to. She goes, the flat part of the foot. And I look at my sock and I'm like, why does my foot not have a flat part? Why is there no lovely stockinette section where I could take something out of the foot? Because I knit it like a leg. Chaos. Even though it was now closed at the toe.
At some point you might think it wasn't meant to be.
I just seriously did, but this is how determined I am. So then we all had a good laugh about that. I decided to start the hat or whatever went on, and then I did take it in the house, rip it all out, managed to figure out how to take a few stitches out of the chart, as well as the flat part of the foot, which is just stockinette, super easy, and I'm carrying on.
And now it's smooth sailing.
It's sort of smooth sailing. I'm at the gusset now, which is all freaky for me because everything's being done in reverse because I'm used to top down, and the gusset's coming before the heel flap, and that's like crazy. So whatever, I'm doing the gusset, and then I'm gonna have quite a bit of math to do. But to get it to fit, because I've reduced the pattern size by 8 stitches and reduced my needle size to make the sock fit my little cross-country ski of a foot, such as they are. But there were 2 pearls on either end and 2 pearls in between, 2 pearls on either end, and this is 2 repeats. So that gave me the opportunity to take out a couple pearl columns and reduce this by 4.
Kind of fairly easily.
It worked really easily, and because otherwise, if I hadn't done that, in fact, there would be 4 pearls in between this 2x2 ribbing.
Oh, okay.
So it actually kind of makes it even more even.
Yeah.
And then I took 1 off each end is the end result. You get 4 out of here, and then of course I took 4 out of the stockinette easily because it's knit flash. And that's where we're at with this. So you can adapt a sock pattern for sizing, which I would always have to do because unless there's multiple sizes, nobody's foot is as skinny as mine. And I'll be honest with you.
Except for Jennifer Hicks.
Yeah, except for Jennifer Hicks, it turns out. So
there's a picture on
So
Instagram.
You're probably looking at this thinking, how skinny is their foot, for heaven's sake. And I'm going to tell you right now, they're still going to be a little bit too big.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And skinny ankles too. I save a lot on yarn.
Yeah.
So that's the Celaeno. If anybody's got Greek pronunciation in their repertoire, please, by all means, send us a phonetic way of spelling that or pronouncing that. So
Great.
that's the
So
sock.
the-
long convoluted story.
Wouldn't it be funny if toe up becomes your favorite type of sock now?
I don't think that's gonna happen.
Really?
I really kind of like picking up along the gusset.
Oh, okay.
That's like a thing I enjoy.
Yeah. So I had knit enough socks. I've knit one pair toe up and one pair top down. So for me, I'm not married to any version. However, I do like the fact that with toe up, I like those left-handed macrame casts on. So
There's a serious
it's
divide
the
in our
yin and the yang.
households.
The yin and the yang. So I like it, but I also like the fact that you can judge how much yarn to use up all your yarn.
I get that.
Yeah, we talked about that at knit night last night too. So there is that part of it, but everybody has different things that they enjoy.
Yeah, I don't know.
And stuff
Remains
that
to
you
be
don't like.
seen.
Different strokes for different folks.
Now that Judy and I are like this, we'll see what I decide going forward with my. And that, like, I'm not a real sock knitter. You can put, like, I don't. Socks are not my thing. I'm not
Yeah.
like box of socks. Not happening.
No.
Never doing that. The sock calendar, like all that. No, I don't
Yeah.
like knitting socks.
You're a garment
that
knitter.
much. I'm a sweater gal.
Yeah.
So, anyways, that was the sock
Although you
odyssey.
do very much enjoy knitted socks.
Oh, I'd love to have 24 pairs.
Yes.
I mean, I'm thinking of maybe trying to accumulate this. So what I do is I knit them, I wear them till there are holes in them, and then I force myself
Right.
to knit another pair. But anyways.
All right, so
Sorry, that
that's the
was
sock.
like a super long.
Sock odyssey. So, and my work in progress is not going to be any shorter.
But I still have another one.
Oh, sorry. Yes, we're still going. Okay.
This will be quick. So I also started.
We're not used to having an episode
I know,
that's so much
what's
so much
happening?
knitting.
So I also started the Marled Mania, which I am loving so much.
And I purposely wore my Pearl Ridge cowl.
Yeah.
Also by the same
Wonderful.
designer.
Yeah, Stephen West.
Right.
So far, this has been dreamy. The only thing I'll say about this pattern is there's make ones. And I always prefer when a designer tells you the make one that will work best in their design.
Yeah.
And in this case, where there's make ones, and I love a lovely right lifted increase, which I learned in ranunculus, I think. To me, they're very, very tidy. You're not going to get any kind of hole with it. And you're going along and you're doing it. And the reason I would have preferred a little bit more instruction is because then it transfers into, you're making one on either side, like throughout this ribbing, and one of them ends up being worked as a knit and one of them ends up being worked as a purl.
Oh.
And so I would have purled the lifted increase if I had kind of put that together.
Right.
Again, when you're going from a 2x2 ribbing to a 3x3 ribbing, one might have been able to come up with that on their own. But I've learned, I try not to freestyle and I don't read ahead anymore because reading ahead in a Jennifer Beal pattern is traumatic. So I tend not to bother with that. So if I had read ahead, I might have figured that out. So it did make a little bit of weirdness, I think, in my...
Which will not be the least bit
No, I know.
acceptable in a marled sweater with ribbing.
And now I know. So now when I do my increases next time, because what happens is this ribbing just gets wider and wider and it goes almost like in a sunray
So this is like
kind
a
of thing.
turtleneck then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's not a turtleneck per se, but this might be the back. That might even be the yoke at the back.
Yeah.
Okay, well anyways.
So you've done short rows?
Yeah,
I
did short what are they called? German short rows, my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, okay.
Because I hate
I've
wrap
never
and
done
turn.
one.
Once you've done German short rows, I know there's applications for wrap and turn, but I can never get those two strands going the right way to not make some kind of weird thing in the wrap and turn. It doesn't matter. I have to look at the video basically every one I pick up. I have trouble with certain things. Stitch orientation, I'm terrible at.
Yeah.
You don't want to be doing wrap and turn if you're not good with stitch orientation, and you've got to get two going in the same direction, and there's like about 18 ways to do it wrong. And you still get a hole and there's a loop at the back. Anyway, German short rows are my thing. But I do like the way Jennifer Beal writes them. She indicates the double stitch with a DS.
Oh, okay.
You had to be pretty careful with markers going through this because it's marled. It's like two strands of a different color.
It's not that easy to read the knitting on
Yeah,
that
it's
one,
not.
eh?
So if you don't know right where the DS is, I feel like you could get a little off track
Yeah.
with that. But I just used markers. So it was basically the following short row was always knit to 2 before the last turn. So I put a marker every time I turned, and that was easy. So what I did today was just finish all the short rows, get around to where they were all picked up and worked in. And now I'm just working on the ribbing, which I don't know, this is probably the back, because the back neck is probably higher.
Right.
And so these will just get wider, like rays of sun on the yoke, which you can see in the photos. And then I get to start the really fun rainbow extravaganza that will be the body of this sweater, which I am loving. And I did have to go down a full needle size, so I'm doing this in a 4mm. I didn't write it on the pattern. I think I say this because I know at some point I'll forget, because I'll drop this for a week and then I'll have to come back and watch my own podcast to figure out what the heck I did. It's happened before.
Yeah.
It happened with Ahava. So, but I actually love this sock yarn held double. It's
very cushy.
I don't know what to say about it. It's tremendous. It makes a wonderful yarn.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is now 6 plies of 20% mohair.
Right.
And I love it.
Our fiber that we have access to here, that we spin with, plays very well with mohair.
Yeah.
It just seems to be the right combination.
Yeah.
With the cushiness of the wool and the silkiness of the mohair.
Yeah.
Both of those yarns are really nice.
And I just think I'm going to really love this. And it's going very quickly.
Yes, it is.
What did I do? When did I cast this on? Last night at 8:15, and I got all this done this morning, and that was with...
You cast it on twice?
Yeah.
Because you weren't happy with the size, right?
Well, I did 2 swatches, and then I cast this on.
Yes, okay.
So I did swatch. I'm a little bit not sure what size I'm going to knit in the end, like with shoulders and stuff, but because it's top down, I'm not going to worry about it.
Try it on as you go.
I'll do it as I go. Yeah. So that's my Marled Mania. I'm thinking it's looking spectacular already, and that the neon rainbow is going to blend really well with this navy and this
and you just switch out one strand at a time as you work through.
So there's going to have to be a whole plan, because here's what I can't decide, and maybe everyone can help. I can't decide if I should ever, throughout my fade, do a little solid stripe of each rainbow color. So they were all going to be marled. So I was going to start right away with red-orange held together.
Right.
So what I'm wondering is, should I do a little bit of red-red held together and then introduce the orange? Or should I make sure the whole entire thing is fully marled? I'm really, really torn, and I'd almost want to try both in a swatch, and then see what I like. But so much work.
Well, the sweater is a lot of work if you don't like it.
Well, I'm not going to not like it.
Oh, okay.
It'll look good either way. But like, what do you think?
Some of the colors that you're putting together are opposite each other, or whatever they call triad on the color wheel, right?
Well, it's a rainbow. I mean, it's going to be consecutive as just like a rainbow. Orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. So, but my question is, do I want just like a couple lines of pure blue before I add the purple? Or do I want to just go full on marled?
Well, then you're going to have stripes, like noticeable stripes rather than faded stripes, sort of.
Yeah, right. Which is fine.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
Let me know in the comments. I'm really torn.
And is there projects online or in Ravelry that people have done?
Well, not with the colors on you. I mean,
but where they've got like solid
I don't know.
stripes?
Probably. Because it's kind of like use whatever you've got.
Yeah, okay.
One of those projects.
Okay.
So I haven't looked, but I'm leaning towards adding just a little bit of solid before I add the next color of the rainbow, because that would be more like a true rainbow. You've got the color, then it's blended, then you've got the pure color next in line. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for a rainbow lover like me.
Big decision.
It's a big decision. Yeah. It really is. It's weighing on me. I'm like, oh, I do it.
Well, though you can do what your instinct is telling you, and then if you really don't like it, you can back out a couple rows. Like, it's not...
Yeah, once I go through red, orange, yellow, I should know.
Yeah.
Now, Stevens is fully marled. There would be at no point are the 2 strands the same color that he would have held when he made his. And that's how it was intended to be. But I love the color so much that I almost want a little bit of them in it. It wouldn't have to be much, like maybe 2 rows. So please let me know what you think.
Yes. Okay, so audience participation is always welcome. Somebody
might have a really strong opinion about it and be like, don't be ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, you're right.
Yeah.
That
What was I
ridiculous.
thinking?
Exactly. That'd be great. Okay.
So, you know, one of the things that happened in the last few weeks is that we actually had somebody that comes in that's a knitter and says that how encouraged she was to try new things because we make so many mistakes, basically.
Yeah.
which was really a compliment, because if we can get people to not be afraid to make mistakes and do things differently, then we're really happy to encourage knitters to try things that they've never thought that they would do before. So in that vein, my Colorwork section is going to be a great...
Because I purposely didn't say this time the stupidest thing ever, cabling the bottom of your sock, because I say I did the stupidest thing ever every single episode,
Right.
so it's really not holding much weight anymore. No. Or we need to create a segment called the stupidest thing ever for this week.
Right. And the truth is that you always learn something.
Oh gosh, as you can tell, I've learned plenty.
Yeah. So, and the school, you know, every day is a school day. It continues.
Right.
So I think I admitted in the last episode that I think that I was having some kind of little mental hesitation about starting this Colorwork because I was really afraid that the strips that I was going to do were somehow not going to work on the sweater for some reason. Mm-hmm. Well, I shouldn't have worried. Okay. So far, I think I shouldn't have worried. So,
but you never know till you get there.
But you never know till you get there. So here, the Colorwork has started on the Joe Batzar, and this is the right sleeve, and the way that it works, because as you know, we were talking about that we didn't read ahead. So there's a couple things, and there was that diagram that I was like, okay, this is going to be interesting. So there's a lot of yarn and a lot of needles, sets of needles here. So these are the things I've learned. First of all, you don't need to worry about how the band is going to fit around the sleeve, because you actually pick up stitches on the sleeve,
which just makes an amazing amount of sense.
Yes,
that's
so it's perfect.
Yeah,
and
no potential issue at all.
No, and the amount of stitches, because I soaked and blocked all of my pieces before I started this, which I would recommend that you do. Picking up the stitches was actually super easy because the amount of stitches that she recommended fit perfectly in the schematic. So, you know, thank you, Jennifer. And so that just was there was no issue there. So right away, that was breathed a big sigh of relief. Then I got to this part. So this is a provisional cast on. That you started with the provisional cast on, and there's a video recommended for the way to do the provisional cast on onto a cable needle, which was an excellent clear video. No problems there.
Much easier if you have needles with really flexible cables. Though.
Yes,
it's not so much fun with certain plastic cables that have memory.
Yes,
it can be really a devil with those.
Yes,
because I've tried it and it was a bit of a nightmare.
So we'll just do another plug for our favorite needles.
But Chiagu, if you're gonna do that. Yeah.
It's flexible enough. It's not exactly like a piece of yarn, but it was flexible, and I didn't have. And in fact, the person that was on the video, you could hear I don't guess it was plastic or nylon or whatever. You could hear that she was like moving that around, but I didn't have any of that trouble. It worked perfectly. So I did that, no problem. That was I did the cast on a couple times not because it wasn't easy to follow, but because when I went to join the provisional part, the strip, you create a strip with the provisional cast on. When I went to join it to the sleeve, I followed the instructions exactly. I got all the way around to where you would knit down on the second side of the provisional cast on, and it didn't look right to me, even though I followed the instructions. So I took it off because I thought it looked backwards. I took it off, and the only problem with the provisional cast on is then the minute you took it off and you had no more knit stitches holding it together, I couldn't keep track of the 104 stitches that it was. So I had to start over from scratch. So then I joined it the other way around, and I'll show you exactly where the confusion came from in a second. I joined it the other way around, And clearly right away, as soon as I joined it, I understood that wasn't going to work. It just didn't make sense because you were not really following the instructions that were written.
That's never good.
Took it off again. 4 stitches fell off the edge of the provisional cast on again. So I can tell you
more one-handed, left-handed macrame.
So I can tell you that I never like to say I'm an expert at anything, but by the time I got this fligmac and strip done, I'm an expert at casting on provisionally on the cable needle.
Which the great thing about that, if you don't even know what we're talking about, is that then your live stitches on the other side are already on a needle. They're not on a piece of garbage thread. What do they call it?
Waste
yarn.
You waste yarn.
Garbage thread, waste yarn, whatever.
Right. So, provisional cast on a cable needle, check. So, and there's a link right in the pattern to that video. It's very, very clear. So here's where I was getting mixed up because I was right the first time. And it's like I said to Jennifer, what's worse than having to do something 4 times in your knitting? Figuring out that you had it right the first time.
But we should have put the sleeve on your body
I would have
to look at it.
Yes, it would have been very clear.
Yes, it's really, it was the stupidest thing ever now.
Yes. Almost the stupidest thing ever. So all your pieces in Joe Batt's arm are knit in the flat. So I had my flat right side sleeve. And I'm knitting along on the provisional cast on. And what happens is that you're looking at the non-public side of the strip of colorwork while you're knitting on the right side of the sleeve, which absolutely, in my mind, didn't make any sense to me. Until after joining 4 times, I figured out that, which is clear in the pattern.
This is definitely not the designer's fault.
Yeah.
This is great. Okay.
Yeah. Is that you're actually knitting the panels that go down the body.
Yeah.
So it makes perfect sense.
That we were looking at purl bumps and going, well, that can't be right.
Right.
Because we were thinking they were coming along here. But they go down here.
Yes.
And it makes it beautiful. Like, it's just a brilliant construction.
Yes.
Truly. You have to appreciate.
Yes.
We didn't have to write it and we could barely figure it out.
Yes.
I mean, it's just...
It's amazing.
Oh, gosh. Her patterns... It's worth getting into. Just such an adventure.
Yeah. So, and right away, you can see how now it's really like coming together.
Yeah, and it's going to go fast because you're literally just joining
I
pieces.
think it's 14 rows.
And so you must be almost done.
Yeah. So now I'll give you a closer look at what's actually happening. So I'm just finished row 5 actually. So, and I'm just going to make a point about the needles too. In the pattern, Jennifer says she recommends 3 40-inch circular sets of circular needles. And I thought, well, why would you need 3? And I'm going to tell you why you need 3, because it actually makes a huge difference if you use 3. You can do it with 2, but it's not easy because there's a steek at the shoulder. So you're going to cut that steek and it'll lie flat again to be joined onto the neck somehow. I haven't gotten there yet.
Don't ask us.
But in order to knit this flat color work in the round, there's also a steek at the bottom of the strip, which will be cut, and then the strip will lie flat. And it's all very clear in the pattern. There's no ambiguity there. It's very clear to follow. And the markers are really important that you keep those straight. So when you get to this part, if you're trying to do this with just 2 sets of needles, it gets very tight along making this curve, even with super flexible cords. And it's just a little bit fiddly, and who needs the aggravation? You're better off just to have the 3rd set of needles. So I have 2 sets of needles in here.
Okay.
One on one side, the front, and one on the back.
Right.
And then I'm knitting with the 3rd set.
Okay.
Okay, so that makes sense. And I'm just going to, we'll show a closer picture, so you can just see what's happening here. Is that
you're just getting to the blue.
Yeah, so on the pattern, when you see the pictures, it looks like you knit 2 strips, but in fact it's 1 strip, but it's open. It's almost like a butterfly pork chop. You're doing both sides, both strips at once.
Going around. Oh, okay, and that's why it's steeked. Fascinating.
Yes. Yeah. And it's very quick, actually.
Yeah, I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she thinks this stuff up.
Yeah, it's very, you really have to be impressed and appreciate the
I'm
way
telling you,
that
I just
the mind
can't
works.
wait. I'm going to be starting another pattern of
Yeah.
yours. Yeah.
So it's really great. So I'm gonna have this gray line that you see here is kind of the edge of each of the strips. Well, it's actually would be the slate inside because it goes dark light, and then into the color work, and then this color work goes out this way. This side of the color work goes this way. One side attaches to the front panel or the front of the garment, and the other side attached to the back. And I'm no longer worried because I'm not my stitch gauge was pretty well right on, but this has a lot of flexibility to it, so I'm pretty sure that there's not going to be any issue joining it onto the pieces, and you do have some flexibility when you're sewing.
Right.
So
it's not the kind of thing where one, like this was your provisional cast on in here.
Yes.
You're already working both sides
Yes.
of it. So
Yes.
even if you had used waste yarn, it would have been there for 1 minute, and then you would have had to pick up those stitches with a second
Yes.
circular needle anyway.
Yes.
So because that's what I would try to do. I'd be like, forget the left-handed one-hand wrap macrame. I'm doing it with a crochet hook on waste yarn, but then I would have gotten to the next step and been like, dang it.
yeah.
Why'd I do that? You really need the needles in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you start right away. Now, sometimes that's not what happens. Sometimes you knit all the way around in the direction, and then you just Kitchener stitch them together at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
But in this case, you're working both sides of live stitches right from the get-go.
Yes.
Okay, just in case
Yeah.
anyone's tempted to do what I would have done, 100% that's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I would have not had the right size in Chiagu. I would have gotten all kerfuffled,
Yeah.
put waste yarn in there, and then realized that was a complete waste of time.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
Just to be clear.
And the cast on is, in fact, I thought it was, we were talking when you were having your Judy drama, that I thought it was the same as, similar to Judy's Magic cast on, but it's actually not.
Right.
It is fairly, I mean, mind you, I did 104 stitches 4 times before I did the final time, which was right, but I got pretty quick at doing
It's
it,
always
I have to
fast if
say.
you can figure out how to do it.
Yeah, it's quite rhythmic. It's quite rhythmic.
I'm
to
pretty
do
sure
it.
the long tail cast on is faster than the cable one too, if you can figure out how to do it.
So I'm super happy, and I'm all reinvigorated about this.
It's gonna go fast now.
Yeah, and my heart was filled with trepidation about doing this and getting through all of this and thinking that it wasn't going to fit together. But it's magic. It's magic almost. It's Jennifer's magic. Garment design.
Yeah, really.
Anyway, and this obviously has to be blocked and so forth. And I will say, though, you want to really kind of be careful about the way you're doing your floats, because you want to have flexibility with this, I think.
To block it.
So we're going to just insert a little tutorial of the way that I do my floats. I don't even know what the name of it. It's a way to do them. You're weaving in the floats as you go. I never go more than 3 stitches without catching a float. And I do my floats do my color work with 2 hands. So this will be pretty straightforward for some people that are used to doing their color work with 2 hands. If you're not used to doing it with 2 hands, you can see how this might work as well. And I'll try to make the video as clear as possible so you can take a look at that. And but there's lots of other help online if you need it. So that's it. So I'm super, super happy. And now that you can actually see like how it's going to fit, it's really encouraging.
So you'll be done by next episode.
Well, the thing is, the other thing that Jennifer is really smart about is that you get all the long kind of tedious, repetitive stuff over with first.
Yeah.
And then when you think you just can't take it anymore, then you get to do this something
this
fun.
is amazing. I mean,
fun
you
and
have
exciting.
all the pieces. You're just joining them with these little
So
construction bits.
the sewing will be the next part, because I think you're sewing on. I don't even know for sure if you're sewing.
She doesn't do sewing.
Okay, so you're probably not sewing.
Maybe in this case, but maybe not, because you don't have live stitches. There must be sewing.
Yeah, but
typically you graft everything.
I'm just that weird that I actually like the sewing on.
Oh, okay, well, great.
Yeah.
I'm sure there probably is sewing, but
So if it's sewing, I have no problem with that because I like it. We're the exact opposite.
I have not had to sew in either of the ones that I did of
Oh,
Jennifer's.
no? Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll see what happens, but I have it read ahead. And I was actually, I had to take my car this morning to get snow tires put on, and Ken was wearing the sweater that I made for him, and I was actually admiring the sewing on that
But
sweater.
you have to take the band off that and make it longer.
Yeah, I know. It's a little
Okay.
bit short.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Joe Batt's arm.
Yeah. So
Go, go.
we didn't say. So we're going to show the tutorial
Now,
now.
let's go.
All right. Okay, so we're just going to do a little demonstration about how I weave in the floats when I'm knitting. So just keep in mind, we probably talked about this in different episodes, I used to be a thrower or an English style knitter, and then I learned to continental knit. So I'm kind of ambidextrous as far as that goes, but lots of people that do one or the other do this two-handed color work. The sample I'm using is just a continuation of the swatch that I did for the helical knitting, so don't get too upset about what the pattern is. There is no pattern. I'm just going to show you what to do. Now, when I weave in ends, or floats, I should say, I do it every 3 stitches. So I'm just going to go with the, I have a float already started to be created here with the brown yarn. So I'm just going to start knitting brown. I'm going to knit 6 stitches, and I'll weave in the white float as I go. So we're just going to get my hands in position here. So, sorry, that didn't look very elegant, but so here we go. I'm going to start with the brown, which is already going to create a small float. So 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to catch the white. So that goes over the tip of your needle that way. And then I'm not going to knit it. So you just leave it in position as if you were going to knit, but you don't pull through. Then I'm going to put the brown over the needle the same way and take the white out. So you can see right away that it's going to get caught under that stitch. And I'll show you once I go a few more stitches. I'm just going to show you what the back looks like. So we caught the white, and you see that it's underneath the brown there. So there's where the float got caught. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the white. Don't worry, I know there's only 2 brown stitches for a float, so it's a little faster. And this is important as well. As I'm doing it, I stretch out my stitches that I've done a little bit just to make sure that I'm not doing anything too tight. So you see how the white is going to go. So we're going to go 1, 2, now I'm doing my throwing, 3. Now I have my 3 white stitches, and I want to create a float with the brown, which is being held in my left hand. So this one is done a little bit different. So I'm just putting the brown over the tip of my needle. Then I'm wrapping my yarn as if I was going to knit. And then before I knit it, I take the brown off, and then I have just a white stitch. So I've created half the float here, so you can see the brown is caught, but the float really gets completed when you do your next white stitch, because now it's caught underneath. So I'm just going to finish that up. Okay, so those are the 2 directions, and you can see you can't see anything. You just make sure that you're watching your tension a little bit, and that's it. So that's weaving floats with two-handed color work. Okay, so I'm just going to do it both steps one more time just so you get to see. So I'm ready to do some brown. So I'm going to do brown, 1, 2, and I'm going to carry the white float. So I'm going to, insert, put the white over the needle, get the brown ready to knit with, take the white back, it's caught. I'll just do another one. Now I'm going to do knit with white, 1, 2, I need to catch the brown. This is the easy one. I just need to put that under the needle, over the needle. Take it off before I don't catch it in the white stitch, and then white. Okay, So that's how you do that. So that's the tutorial.
Okay, great.
All right.
Love doing tutorials. It's kind of fun now.
It is kind of fun. I really wish I should always maybe I should try to paint my nails or something at some point.
Stacey Perry's making you look like a slouch.
Yeah.
Her manicures
her hands are always so elegant, but then
Yeah.
again, she's not a sheep farmer.
Mine
either.
always have burns.
Yeah.
And scabs. I don't know, like whatever. Lovely.
Yeah.
That's why I don't do them.
Yes.
Also, I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
It's way too complicated.
All right, so now the Cocoknits
Yeah, Cocoknits
sweater
knit-along.
workshop.
Yeah.
So I did, after the last episode, I did run Right Till Ravelry and I created the thread. So that's open on Ravelry. And last night at Knit Night, because obviously, even though, you know, I'm feeling pretty chuffed about the whole Joe Batt thing, there was no way that I was going to do that during Knit Night.
No.
So
'Cause
I will say though, the chart is very clear, but you have to pay attention because all the little medallions or lozenges in the motif are not done the same. So it's not a color work pattern where you get, two of this color, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's not that. So
Nor was there in the ones I did.
no, so you do need to pay a little bit of
Okay.
attention.
Also, your executive producer was not going to let you not have this Cocoknits thing going by this.
Yeah, no, but
episode.
I'm really excited about the Cocoknits
Yeah.
thing. So this is a complete.
I'm like,
you know,
here's your yarn. You're swatching.
yeah. So for a complete change of pace,
Right.
I did-
Amazingly. I have to touch this. This
Yeah.
looks like fun as heck.
Yes,
Fast as heck.
yes.
Is this your final gauge?
I got gauge right
It's
away.
fantastic.
Yeah.
So
So
the color is vineyard.
right.
Oh, which
It's
I
so
have to
rich.
stop myself from making everything in vineyard.
I know.
Every time I make something, you know what? That would look nice in vineyard.
Yeah.
White. Just thinking something coming up.
Oh.
Might have to do another survey.
Or amethyst brooch.
No, I have knit
You're
enough
over?
things in that now.
Okay.
But this with the white.
Yeah. Okay. Don't talk
Okay.
about that. That's not. You're not supposed to be talking about that yet. All right. So this is my swatch for my Emma version A Cocoknits sweater, and it is not the needle size that I would normally knit our signature Aran with because it's very loose compared to what I normally knit. However, I have to say I wasn't sure. I was like, I don't know, that size needle, maybe I should do something different, but it's really, really nice.
But I had already done this exercise too with the evening walk shawl, and I
Yes.
actually love this Aran with an 8mm.
Yes. But the evening walk shawl is also very kind of loose. It's
Yeah.
not, I'm kind of the uptight.
Okay.
I like a fabric that's like, anyway.
Okay.
But it's going to be perfect. And talking about the body fit and proportion and everything, the fact that it's a little bit of a looser fabric and not so tight and chunky is actually better for my body type.
I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it feels amazing. I'm really happy
Feels
about it.
amazing, yeah.
And I could sit here and pretend that this has been blocked, but I wouldn't want anybody. I didn't have time to wash and block it, but the stitch gauge is actually, I have gauge. Because I've knit with our yarn so much, I know the gauge is actually a little bit smaller, unblocked, but I know that when I block it and wash it, I know how
It'll
much it
expand,
expands,
yeah.
that I will hit gauge with this. And it's super cushy and nice, and I was trying it on my arm because I was like, I can just picture how it's gonna look.
Yeah.
I'm really excited. So without showing too much on film, because I know on the video, I know everybody's really careful about showing things and I don't know, giving secrets away, whatever. But I'm figuring that you're not going to be able to see anything.
Definitely not. Whatever.
So I did my worksheet, and so I'll talk a little bit about how this works. So I don't need to have this held out there to do this. So I started my the worksheet. I followed the instructions exactly how Julie has laid them out, and it's very, very clear. You do have to sit down and kind of think about it and make sure you've got your increases and everything in the right spot. And I was really, really diligent about this, so I will not have to reference episode of our podcast. I've got my needle size, I've got my gauge, I've got
See, this is smart because that is a thing.
Yes.
You need to write down what size you
Yes.
wound up at.
That's right. And I have my how she wants the increases done. Or there's a space for that. There's a space to write in what yarn you've used. There's just there's everything. And on the bottom here, I did put in my own measurements because that's, you know, I'm all about the fit now. And I did everything step by step exactly the way that she said. And the beauty of this whole method is that her patterns at the beginning, the overview of the pattern tells you what you put in the different places in the worksheet. So the only thing that I'm not, that I haven't really done before, because I don't know why, I guess because I'm usually doing a pieced thing, I don't really use stitch markers that much. You love stitch markers.
Yeah, because my brain is like a sieve.
Oh, okay.
I don't have a stitch marker. Like, if you could use stitch markers in everything in life, I would walk around with a satchel full of them. I can't remember something from here to there.
Yeah, so I actually not a big stitch marker user. I did use them, as I mentioned, on the Joe Batt's arm. It's important to do that because it's easy to lose track if you're not. And it's not something where you can read your knitting. I'm pretty good at reading my knitting, so I don't usually do it even in lace. But in this case,
no stitch markers in lace.
No. But in this case, it's really a part of the whole method. It really helps you to keep track of where you are if you put down your knitting, and like we talked about the last time. So so that's what I did, and you know, she's very clear about where you put your increases. And then now the one thing that I'm not very good at, and I always kind of fudge it, and it's all right, is when it says an increase the right side row, every fourth row, I sometimes forget that and just do it the way.
Those are that's hard.
That's hard, but with this, it's not going to be a problem because she tells you exactly where to do it, and you mark it on your little. So when you go to do knit the pattern, you're just using your little worksheet. It's very, very smart.
Yeah.
We love smart things.
I know. And so you would say this is pretty straightforward.
Yep. You just have to, and she always gives, you're going to love this, she always gives the stitch count after every step.
Bless her.
Yes. So, you know, that way you, in my job when I was working in the corporate world, I was like an Excel, I loved Excel. So I always had like checks on different formulas and stuff like that. So I like checking things more than one way around, so you don't assume that you've got it right. And she allows you to do that with this because she tells you how many stitches you're increasing, then you write that down, and then she tells you how many stitches you have at the end of the process, and you can see if that works, and then she tells you overall how many stitches you should have. It all added up, so you can see.
That's good.
Yeah.
So, and we only have a couple of these books left now.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
So if you're interested in trying it, we do have a couple left, and we have some of the worksheet journals left.
Yeah.
But we're gonna have to order more books.
Yeah, we'll have to order more books.
So there's still time to kind of get in the knit along. If you haven't grabbed your book yet, we do have a couple.
Yeah. So super happy with it, and I'm going to be really enjoying
That's
knitting
going to be
with
a
this.
stunning project.
Yeah,
I have to say that whoever dyed that yarn
Yeah,
did an amazing job.
they did. It's actually, I mean, it's always a nice yarn, but it turned out it's a nice batch.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on the workshop. So, and it knits up very quickly.
Yeah,
so,
this is going to be lightning.
Yeah.
Too bad you're knitting another sweater at the same time.
Yes. The yin and the yang of my sweater project.
Yeah, well, that's kind of perfect, I think. That's why I'm not a monogamous knitter.
Yeah, right.
That's why I had a hat and a sock, and I got mad at one, and then I went to another, and then I got mad at that one, and I went to another, and I'm like, I'm running out of projects here.
Yeah.
Mad at everybody.
Oh boy. All right, but forgiving.
Yeah.
Everybody.
It's all smooth sailing now.
Yeah.
I don't mean everybody. I don't mean people. I mean all the projects were in the naughty corner.
Yes.
I had nothing that wasn't in the naughty corner.
But only for a couple days.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're going to do a shop update.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that we've been out of that we're now back. Well, actually, there's one thing that we've been out of.
But it's the time of year for
yes.
it.
Is our pompoms, which are handmade by a gal that
Yeah.
lives close by us. And we've got them in that we'll call these, she called them blonde and silver, so that's
Okay.
what we'll call them.
Right.
But the quality of the they're faux fur, so we're not making them out of
Yes.
old fur coats or, you know, doing anything, you know, not politically correct with
Right.
anything. So they're faux fur, but she buys really, really good
Yeah.
faux fur. So they're beautiful, and they're just, I don't know, they're just so pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they snap on and off so that your faux
Yes.
fur stays lovely.
Yes,
Because if you put it in
so-
the washer, it's not going to be very nice
Yeah.
anymore.
So she applies the snap. So what you do is you sew the bottom part of the snap onto your hat, and then you have the pom-pom that you can take on and off if you need to wash your hat. So we have the two different colors.
Because of course, this is listed as brown online, but of course you're going to brown and gray. Blonde and silver sounds nicer. Maybe I should change it.
Yeah.
But of course you're going to wash your hat at the end of the season because you don't want to get moths in it.
Right.
So it's really nice to be able to remove the pom-pom.
Yeah.
Nowadays, even when they sell jackets with faux fur, they make it zip
Yes.
off.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because it does make it ball up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so the next shop update, very brief shop updates this time. Somebody had asked if we would make the sock yarn in Christmas colors. Well, I don't know what Christmas colors are, but I'm assuming red and green.
Yeah.
And this is very red and green, and it turned out lovely, and it's our Point Prim Sock, and I actually love this. And we are...
I like the names you chose for them.
Yeah,
too.
so Velvet Bow and Holly.
Right.
Not super imaginative, but the velvet bow was really nice. And I looked desperately for some Lucy Maud Montgomery Christmas quotes or something to work into the color story, but I don't. There is a collection of Lucy Maud Montgomery and Christmas stories, but the only Christmas quote I found wasn't very cheerful.
Okay.
She did have her bad days, Lucy Maud,
Yeah.
by times. So
Yeah.
I'd have to buy the book, I think, to get something, which maybe I will do. Because what's great, we have an excuse to buy an Anne of Green Gables Christmas story book. Oh, want
Yeah.
to do that. So yeah, so Velvet Bow and Holly listed in Point Prim Sock.
Right.
So, and they feel amazing. And it's a double depth color. So they're really, really richly
Yeah.
dyed.
Yeah.
Okay, so the other thing we did, which if you haven't been to our shop or any of the local shops that we supply here in the summer, you have not seen this. This is our heritage blend. So this is actually a wool that is spun by McCausland's. When we have short fibers that cannot be handled with our mill, we send them up there because their woolen spun method does a much better job with shorter staple
Right.
lengths than ours
And
does.
still keeping it local.
Yeah, it's still local, so it's a PEI mill. It's a very popular stop on the Fibre Trail. If you're coming for the Fibre Trail, you should definitely head up there because the equipment is from...
I think it's like 1910 or
Okay.
something. I don't want to.
You're the history buff. I have
It's,
no
it's
idea.
somewhere
A long
around
time
there.
ago.
Yes.
It's all wooden and it's quite neat, and it's
Yeah.
been there forever in the
Yeah.
same location, I think.
I,
around?
I don't know if they had a mill that maybe had a fire or something. I don't
Okay.
know. Anyway, it's by the same, owned by the same family.
Right. Okay.
Since
I think it might
early
be the other one that had the
1900s.
fire. But
Okay.
at one time, there were 3 commercial size
Right.
mills here on
Right.
the island. Anyway, so I wanted to do it in this base in case you want an alternative to the typical ugly Christmas sweater. Not that this yarn is ugly by any stretch of the imagination. It's actually really nice. But if you're going to knit up a quick Christmas sweater that maybe you don't want to be such a big investment, then this yarn would be great.
Yeah.
And it's 200 yards for 114 to 16 grams. They're usually pretty well dead on. It's a 2-ply. It's 100% wool, and it's completely locally sourced.
Yes. And dyed by here.
us. Yeah.
So what we do, just for people that aren't aware, is that we always have some of these skeins, not these particular colors, in our shop because we don't waste anything. So as you know, so everything that we get, we use, and if that shorter fiber we send up there, and we get the skeins all back in the
Blanks.
natural as blanks, and Jen still dyes them with our greener shades.
Yeah.
They're the greener shade dye that we
Yeah.
use, so it's organic and
Yeah.
so.
And we just don't typically have these on the website because it wasn't spun by us.
Right.
So just to be clear, our locally sourced fiber that we source ourselves, so it still comes from the people we know and the sheep that we know how they're cared for. It's sent up to McCausland's. McCausland's does just the spinning. It's come back here, and then we dye it, and everything else about it is Fleece and Harmony. But because we don't spin it, I don't put it on the website.
Right.
But I am in this case just for this special Christmas kind of thing, and it's got the same colorways, of course, as always, velvet bow and holly, but this is the heritage blend, and I think it's more like a commercial yarn, because with their equipment they can spin in a day what we can do in a month.
Yes, absolutely.
But I mean, it's 1910 commercial. It's still pretty quaint.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like thousands of pounds a day commercial,
No.
but it's considered a commercial size mill.
And it makes really good socks too, actually, because because of the way that they spin with the shorter fibers. It is it's a little bit more rustic spinning, let's put it that way, but it's also very durable. So for your sweaters, or for your hats and mitts, and like things where you might want something that's a little bit more hard wearing, it's really
if you knit this nice and tight in a work sock, it would probably be pretty durable. It is 100% wool though, so there's nothing added for the purpose of adding strength. And but it is a worsted weight, what we would considered a worsted weight. So you're not going to knit a fine sock out of it.
No.
But yeah, it's fun. And I think if I were going to make a Christmas or holiday sweater, understanding it's something that I'm only going to wear once or twice a year, maybe. Because, red and green together, there's just no way not to think holidays and Christmas when you see that. It would look a little weird at Easter, but whatever. So I think it's a great way to get that done. Yeah, and actually our newsletter subscribers got the jump on this collection. So we sent this out in our newsletter last Friday. So we're probably going to start doing that a little bit, introducing some things with the newsletter, which comes out on the opposite week of the podcast, introducing some things for podcast people first, because not all of our fans do both. Some people are newsletter people, some people are podcast people, so we want to be fair to everybody. So in this case, this actually went out on the newsletter first. So if that's something you may be interested in hearing about everything that we're doing special the minute it comes out, then please sign up for our newsletter if you have not already.
And you launched that around the same time on the alternate Friday to the podcast.
That's right. So it's usually comes out 2:30 the opposite Friday. I got a little bit excited about this one and sent it out at 10:30, but still on the Friday.
And we were a little bit worried that we're a little bit late with it. So we're kind of close to the season.
Yeah, late to get a Christmas yarn going.
Yes.
I mean, you're going to have to knit fast.
Yeah, but it knits up fast.
Yeah, it's worsted weight. So, and certainly you can finish a pair of socks if you want. But really, somebody had written in months ago or a month and a half ago and asked if we would do Christmas colors in the sock, and we just did it for that person. I can't remember what the name was, but
anyway, it's fun.
But there it is. I hope you like it.
It's fun.
Yeah,
limited time.
I'm definitely not making those after this round.
Yeah.
So till next year.
So that's fun.
Yeah,
that's good. So we're just going to talk. You wanted to talk about a project that's coming up.
Oh yeah. Gosh, I'm busy. Okay, so Jennifer Beal, just on her Instagram 2 days ago, she put up a picture of a lovely sweater called Step Aside. So it's actually designed in our Aran weight yarn. So I'm going to be test knitting it. I will definitely have it started by next episode, because I think the pattern's going to be delivered to our inboxes any minute now. And as you can see from the picture, it's a stunningly exciting design, the big pockets, and I really toiled over what color to do it in. I think I'm going to do mine in the slate and the white, although now I've seen the vineyard with the white. That would be amazing, but I still think I'm going to do the slate, because I think I'll use it, wear it the most if it's in slate. It'll go with everything. And I do have a lot in vineyard already from before we started this podcast. So I had been knitting in vineyard for a while. I finally had to stop. No, actually, even on here, I've shown several things in vineyard. So I'll do it in slate and the natural. And
you haven't knit anything in slate yet.
The ranunculus.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I think something else, but I don't want to try to go through the file to find out what that was.
Yeah.
And as of yesterday, Jennifer was still looking for test knitters.
Right.
And she has a Ravelry group around test knitting, and you can also email her or message her if you're interested in test knitting it, and I will be test knitting it, so you'll be knitting along. We're offering a discount to test knitters, as we always do, for patterns that are designed using our yarn. And so you would get to take advantage of that. But Jennifer also allows you to test it in whatever yarn you want to use for your project. So it's totally up to you. And so that's all happening. And I'm really, really excited about the design. I think it's going to be super fun. And as you can tell, it's quite unique. And magic word, pockets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Everything's better with pockets.
Yeah. So that's happening. And we are so appreciative anytime a designer uses our yarn. And we're thrilled that Jennifer is doing this one, particularly in Aran way, because it's a nice, fast one.
Yeah.
And I won't be slaving away on it for months, I don't think.
So we were worried that we weren't going to have a story to tell in this episode, but I think I just thought of one.
Oh, okay.
But it's actually your story, so you should tell it.
What is it?
About that you met one of the fathers of Confederation in Newfoundland.
Oh, but I was so young, I don't know if I remember the story.
Oh, okay.
I was like 7.
Yeah. So.
And his name was Joey Smallwood?
Yes.
Okay. I hope I don't know if we have a lot of Newfoundland viewers.
I don't know.
We should. We talk about Newfoundland more than we talk about Prince Edward Island.
Almost.
Big Newfoundland fans.
Yeah.
So I was 7. I'm assuming this is a story that was more hilarious if you were an adult at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Just about how precocious you were.
I was precocious.
Yeah.
Finding this awfully hard to believe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I know it's hard to believe for the people that watch us too. So our father was a sales rep for the Atlantic Canada, so he used to have to travel over to Newfoundland fairly regularly, and he took you with him one time.
Yes.
Yeah, for a trip. And
was that ever a lot of fun? Business trip. I was 7. Anyways,
a business trip. Probably lots of Cape Breton fiddle music being played on the way there too, right up your street.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Not at the time. It wasn't.
Not at 7. Yeah. Anyway, so the story goes that you stopped for coffee at a coffee shop.
We were at a Big Stop, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay.
or something similar to an Irving Big Stop. And if you're not Canadian, you'll have no idea what that is. And I don't know what the equivalent would be, even in the US. But it's like a gas station that has a home-style restaurant attached to it.
Yes, and they're all over the place.
Yeah, and by home-style, I mean like hot turkey sandwiches with the peas.
Canned peas.
You don't want peas.
Yeah.
Everything comes with peas and gravy.
Yes.
So that's the Irving Big Stop.
Yeah. Well renowned and appreciated.
Yeah, and Irving is an oil company.
Yes, it's which I think is pretty well known.
Gas stations.
Gas stations and everything. Very popular around here.
Yes.
Because the
Hot
owners because the owners are actually from St. John, New Brunswick. But this was an Irving station in St. John's, Newfoundland. So a lot of people get those two places confused, and the people that are the inhabitants of both of those cities don't appreciate having it confused because of course they have pride in their
But I'll
place.
tell you how you remember it.
Oh, okay.
Both versions should only have 2 S's. So
Oh,
St. John's, Newfoundland, because there's no S in Newfoundland, and St. John, New Brunswick, because there's only 1 S in New Brunswick.
Oh.
So if you've got 3 S's in there, you've screwed up.
Yeah.
That's how I finally taught myself.
Oh, okay.
Sad because it's a neighboring province.
Yeah.
Like you shouldn't be that difficult.
Yeah.
But so it's St. John's, Newfoundland, 2 S's, or St. John, New Brunswick, 2 S's.
And St. John in New Brunswick
Spelled
is written
out.
out. And St. John's, Newfoundland
Abbreviated
is ST period.
Yeah.
So that's
Got
it.
you covered.
All right, so that was actually 2 stories. It's 2 stories in one. So you stopped at the Irving Big Stop.
Yeah.
And Dad started chatting to this gentleman.
Okay.
Yes. And introduced you.
Sure.
And said, Jennifer, this is Joey Smallwood. My mother is going to call us and correct the story.
Okay. Well, she wasn't there.
No, she wasn't there, but she always seems to be able to remember those stories better than we do. But anyway, introduced you, and what did you say to him? Pleased to meet you. Are you somebody of some importance?
I actually think it might have been something more like, and what have you done exactly? Or some combination of the two.
So the reason
are you famous or something? I don't know what it's something like that.
Yeah, because obviously it was worthy of his fame was worthy of Dad stopping to introduce you to him.
Right.
And what he was the last living father of confederation
because Newfoundland was the last province to join Canada. Is that right?
Yes.
And they did that in 1949?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I was going to say 41, but that would have been still the war was going on, so I don't think it was.
We're close. We're close. Listen, we got the St. John's thing figured out.
Yeah. So
forgive us.
Forgive us. We're gonna get letters. Or comments.
No,
so anyway, so he was actually the premier of the
at
first
the time
premier
as well.
of the province.
No, he was very elderly when we met him.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So he was considered the last living father of confederation.
But also the original Confederation was signed here on Prince Edward Island too.
Yes.
The original meeting took place here on the island. So that's why our bridge is called the Confederation Bridge.
Yes.
And Confederation is a big deal here on the island. So it played a very important historic role, Charlottetown.
Yeah.
Which was called the what conference?
The Charlottetown
Conference. Okay.
Yeah.
Which was the beginning of Canada's Confederation.
The talks. Yes.
The talks. Okay.
And the ironic part was that Prince Edward Island actually didn't join right away.
Fine. Listen, we host tourists all the time.
Yeah.
You're welcome to have your party here. We may or may not participate. Yeah. Okay.
So, and apparently Mr. Smallwood thought it was hilarious.
I'm sure he did. I don't remember. Like, I was so little. Like, that would have meant nothing to me.
Something of some importance.
He's probably thinking, not to you, obviously.
Anyway, he was.
You're welcome for being able to visit this province without a passport.
Yeah.
You brat. Whatever. I was so oblivious.
Yes. Anyway, that was.
It was certainly a big honor. If only I had remembered it.
Yes.
Or knew what was happening at the time.
Anyway, it was a story that Dad loved to tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, at that age, the only person that I would have met that would have impressed me would have been Elvis.
Yeah. At 7?
Oh, at 3. Oh my God. I was born like a love for Elvis like you wouldn't believe.
Oh,
and it goes on.
Okay.
May he rest in peace. Okay.
So anyway, that was I don't know how come so many stories go back to Newfoundland when
I know we need to go there. We just love that place.
Yeah.
All the great stuff happens in Newfoundland, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so that's great. So now we're gonna say that we were gonna just give a quick update of the the Prince Edward Island PEI Fiber Festival.
Yeah.
So you posted yesterday something very exciting on Instagram because we picked a venue.
Yes, so we've the venue for the festival, the marketplace, and the classes is the Delta in Charlottetown, which you can
Conference
Google.
Center.
It's beautiful. Their conference center overlooks the water. Floor to ceiling windows is what we've with viewing the yachts and cruise ships. It's going to be stunning.
Yeah.
But we're also having a wee party.
Yeah.
Friday and Saturday night. There's going to be a Ceilidh, which is something that we do all the time here in the Maritimes. The Maritime Ceilidh is an event if you've ever visited here, particularly Nova Scotia, but also Prince Edward Island. You've probably attended a traditional Ceilidh where they dance square sets.
Yeah.
And there would be traditional maritime fiddle music and usually a piano accompaniment and all that kind of shenanigans.
Yeah.
So that's going to be happening the Friday and the Saturday night. We're doing it 2 nights so that you have an option of which one to attend.
Yeah.
And it's going to be at the beautiful mansion that I posted the photo of on Instagram stories yesterday, which is called Beaconsfield. It's a historic home on the Charlottetown waterfront. Stunning view and position, like just an amazing spot, and it's in their carriage house. They have an event space that's going to be absolutely perfect for this shindig that we're going to be all attending, hopefully.
Yes.
And super exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the only thing about it is that the capacity of the space is not quite what we wanted. So that's why we decided that it would be, or the plan is that we would do the Ceilidh 2 nights.
Yes.
So people have a better opportunity to be able to get tickets when they become available.
Yeah.
So 2 nights. And it's going to be great.
Personally, I'm looking forward to this party, and I hope to go both nights.
Yeah. The place was beautiful.
Oh, it was and we're so appreciative that we got a chance to go look at it in advance. And I just walked in and I was like, this is perfect. I really want a Ceilidh here.
Yeah.
Let's do it tonight.
You really want a Ceilidh, the noun or the verb? Is Ceilidh
the verb?
Thing? Yeah.
Let's go Ceilidh.
Yeah.
Bring it on. Is it not a verb?
Yes, that's what I think.
It is, yeah.
All right. So that's so things are still
Slowly
happening.
moving along, but you needn't worry. It is happening.
Yeah.
I think a few people are starting to want to book accommodations and stuff. So September 25th to 27th, 2020 is when the PEI Fiber Festival, the first annual, will be taking place.
Right.
Marketplace, classes, of course, stunning Kaylee.
Right.
2 nights. And lots of other excursions and things I think they're planning that aren't part of the fiber part,
Right.
but that will be presented with an ability to package for attendees of the fiber part to go do all the other amazing island things, food, wine, craft
I think a
brews,
lot of different places
fishing.
are kind of jumping on board.
Yeah, it
so
seems
it's
like
gonna be-
the whole island is kind of getting excited about it.
Yeah.
So there'll be lots of stuff to do. And if you want to come with your family, there is no shortage of other activities and stuff that everybody can get involved in. Or, if you want to be left alone to knit and the rest of the family wants to go somewhere, it's going to be, I think, very well organized in terms of what's available to sort of plan your trip. So that's super exciting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have Ask Us Anything, and we had a couple of them.
That's so fun. I love the Ask Us Anything.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So you can say the first one's name, Ravelry handle.
Well, I'm afraid to now.
Yeah.
So, Anonogrits
Yeah, I don't know.
or Anonigrits or
Anoni grits.
Anon or Ano New York. Oh, no New York grits?
No.
Do they eat grits in New York? I don't think they do.
Okay. All right, we don't know.
Anonigrits.
The Anonigrits. That's what we're going with.
Yeah, it's
I
like
don't know.
license plates, right?
Yeah, that's right. So Anonigrits wants to know if we can spin plant fibers and if there are plant fibers available locally here on Prince Edward Island. So first of all, we'll do the easy part first. Hemp is grown on Prince Edward Island.
This is news to me.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And I know flax is grown in Nova Scotia, so I assume that it could be grown here, but I'm not sure. I don't personally know of any farms that are growing flax. And nettles, I have no idea. We have them, but
I had stinging nettles.
yes, we have nettles, but
They're a delight.
I'm not sure. Yes, they're just delightful. So I think all three of those plant fibers can be grown here, but I'm not 100% sure. I am sure of hemp that can be grown here. And the Belfast mini mill equipment, without some kind of adaptation, actually does not spin plant. Well, you can spin plant fiber, but you can't process
it. Like prepare it for spinning.
Yes, that's right. So, because I think if you mix it with wool, like a plant fiber with wool, it would just react the same kind of similarly in the machine. The only problem is that what I understand, and I'm no expert at all, is that plant fibers tend to be shorter than the animal fibers or protein fibers, like either silk or wool, like what we're using. So that could create some challenges, I would say, with spinning. But I can't imagine why. We spin bamboo.
Yeah, I was going to say, you forgot one. We do spin bamboo.
Yeah, so
in sock yarns usually.
So
not our own, but for other people.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can spin bamboo. So I'm assuming you can spin the other
if it
plant.
came in a soft roving like the bamboo does.
Yeah, exactly.
And just mix it in.
So, but the processing of plant fibers to prepare them for spinning is rather complex and different from processing protein-based fibers. So that would be a challenge. Although I know that there are some projects around of trying to adapt equipment and processing to do that, because obviously hemp in particular around here is a big topic of conversation, and very well renowned for fast growing, and there are farms that grow hemp. So that's the answer to that. Mm-hmm. So not really, but possibly maybe in the future if a mill owner wanted to make an adaptation.
So you can put the prepped fiber in through, but we are not able to prep the fiber.
Right. There's a whole
the bamboo
thing.
comes prepped. It just looks like lovely little bits of white, whatever. You just But we do try. We don't use it ourselves.
No.
But
we wanted to give an alternative if somebody that was having custom spinning done that wanted us like a sock yarn or whatever, that they wanted an alternative to nylon. So we did have some bamboo here, and it spins. You just put it, blend it in, and it spins exactly like it's very easy to do.
And I don't know anything about the biodegradability of bamboo, but I'm assuming it's better than nylon.
I would think so.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they're both very, very hard to clean out of the equipment. That's why I don't like them.
Yeah.
I've had a shoulder injury just trying to scrape it. They're incredibly strong.
Yes.
Which is the point, but it
Yes.
also makes it very difficult to clean them out of the equipment.
And then the next question was directed to me because I've talked about the fact that I live in Montreal, and
Valpou? OUX?
Yes. Okay. has asked me if I speak French.
I think by the way you pronounce that, you've just answered the question.
Yes, exactly. So not really. So I don't have many regrets, I have to say. Like, I'm pretty satisfied with how things, but and I've said this before, that one of the regrets that I have is that I did not become proficient in French when I lived in Montreal. So when I lived in Montreal, I came to the head office of the company that I was working for at a time when a lot of people in the office were really anxious to learn English. And they basically gave me a free pass on learning French so that they could all practice their English. And I took the free pass. Which I'm not proud of, and I do regret that I didn't become I can speak a little bit of French, but I've been here 7 years now almost, and it's amazing how quickly you lose your second language.
When you learn it as an adult,
it's really disappointing to me personally, I have to say. So I would not even dare say that I speak
You could
French.
start watching the news in French every night and refresh your
memory. That's how I was learning French.
Yeah.
I took some lessons and so forth as well, but I listened to the radio and I listened to the news in French when I was in Montreal, and it does really help. But you really need somebody to practice it with.
Yeah.
So Ken would be considered bilingual, but he's actually losing some of his French as well.
Oh dear,
so
we need to get him some more,
Yeah.
because he does speak French out here in the shop if somebody comes in. He's definitely bilingual.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm, but we don't speak French together, so we'd have to do that.
You should do that for a year. It's like learning Continental. You only speak French for a year in your marriage.
Can you imagine?
Go for it.
We wouldn't get married.
You'd pick it up right quick.
Yeah, right. So, unfortunately, it takes two to tango, and I'm not sure that he would agree to do it. I don't know why. He's kind of, he's bilingual, but he's, I don't know, he might not be necessarily.
And he learned as a child, so he won't never lose it, really.
No.
He might feel
it comes
rusty,
back
but
very
it comes
quickly
back,
for him. Yeah, so.
Because I don't know if not everybody watching would know, but Canada has two official languages, French and English, but unfortunately they do not enforce that officiality in the school system.
Not right.
You have a choice as to learn both or not.
Yeah. The only bilingual province is New Brunswick.
Yeah.
And Quebec is French.
It's considered French.
Yeah. And the rest of Canada is considered Anglophone. So it's only New Brunswick that's actually considered a bilingual province. There's a dialect that they speak there in New Brunswick, and which is a
French
mixed
dialect.
Well, it's French primarily, I would say, but the reason why it's a dialect is because it's French and English mixed together.
That's a whole other ball of
wax. It's really funny. So it's very uneasy for me to understand because it's kind of the way I speak French too, but I can't remember the word in French. I just say the English
even
word.
When we learn French in school here, we're learning Parisian French, like France French, not New Brunswick French, which is a whole other thing. It's very complicated. Yeah. But my point being, your parents basically decide for you what ones you're going to learn. The government does not decide. Yeah. So our parents chose English.
Yeah,
only.
And it's really I think it's really a missed opportunity.
It is because, and I've found like a lot of the younger people, like our nieces' children and stuff, people are cluing into the fact that it's great for them to have both, and you really difficult to get a federal government job in your own country if you do not have both. Yes. So that cuts you out of a whole bunch of job opportunities because in order to work as a public servant at the federal level, you either have to have both or be really committed to learning both.
Yeah,
and
that's
I have several adult friends struggling with that.
Yeah, which is a
we
shame.
speak,
And they're not
so-
any happier about it because it's a kind of a disappointment, I think. for a
Yeah,
lot
it's
of
hard to
people.
learn it as an adult. That's
And
the
we
thing.
don't want to get political about it,
No,
but
no.
it's really, you know, it's for the European countries are much better at
They've
this.
got it
than
all
us.
together.
Yeah.
So that was a real sidetrack.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so
but some
there- another
Canadian
rabbit.
information
Yeah,
for you there.
exactly. And then, okay, go ahead, Jen. Lungta 22?
Yeah, that looks right.
Lungta.
Might be Lunta,
Lunta?
22. Wanted to know
Yeah.
who the sheep were in our intro.
Yeah.
'Cause they're all stars now.
Yeah, so here they are in order.
Yeah.
Sweet Marie. So yes, they have names.
Oh, yeah.
The first one is Sweet Marie. She's
Yeah.
got the gray face.
That beautiful mug she's got.
Yes.
She's a huge girl.
Yes.
Did you see that?
Very, very healthy.
Yeah, we
she's-
wish they were
she's
all as robust as Sweet Marie.
Yeah, so she started out as a kind of
She
a
was
little.
born a runt and had some problems with her legs.
Yeah,
She looked kind of like something from War of the Worlds, like
Yeah.
just this little teeny tiny body on these, and she had trouble controlling them almost. So I
Yeah.
thought, oh, this one's not. She's been with us a long time. I
Yeah.
think she might have been born our first lambing season.
yeah,
And Sweet Marie was a bit of a one we
Yeah.
were keeping an eye on, but boy, did she make up for it.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, robust.
Yeah.
If all our sheep were like Sweet Marie, we'd have no troubles.
yeah. She
She has the babies. She raises the babies. She puts the weight back on. She's onto her
she
business.
doesn't lose the weight.
No,
She just it's
lose the
almost
weight.
like she
Yeah.
feeds twins, and it's almost like nothing's happening.
Yeah,
she's
she's
always
great.
always healthy and
and in horrible scientific farming terms, that's known as feed conversion.
yeah,
She converts feed very well.
Yeah.
To body mass.
yeah, exactly. So she's
There's some
she's
that you
great.
can shove it in and it just seems to evaporate.
Yeah,
On
it
Sweet
doesn't
Marie,
do-
it really sticks.
Yeah.
Which is what you want.
Yeah, exactly. She's
Yeah.
very she's always amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and she, you know, like she's had things happen to her. Like she had I don't know, she must have gotten something stuck
Hay.
in her eye, and she'll
Yeah.
come up and ask for help.
Yeah.
Like she's
There's an ulcer here.
Yeah.
You have to put eye drops in a sheep 4 times a day for 2 weeks.
yeah,
Imagine if you
no
will.
problem with her.
Yeah,
she
no.
was like a real trooper.
She's great.
like, yeah, she's really
She's
a
a favorite.
survivor.
She's a wonderful sheep.
Yeah, yeah.
Sweet Marie.
So,
Good name for her.
Yeah, exactly. The second one, which is a black wool sheep, is Domino.
Domino, that's
Yeah.
a wether, which is what you call a sheep that's been castrated.
Yeah.
Sorry for your troubles, Domino, but
Yeah.
it has allowed you to stay on the farm this
Yes,
long.
exactly.
Yeah.
And the wish was that he was going to have great wool, but that didn't.
This is not too bad.
Well, not too bad.
We use it.
Yeah, well, we use it,
Goes
but
in a
it's
blend.
not, yeah.
He's not the kempiest of the black
No.
sheep that we have out
No.
there, because for some reason our black sheep tend to have kempy fibers on their britches,
Yeah.
which is their hind,
Which is like
hind
coarse,
legs.
for people that don't know, is kind of
Yeah.
like a coarse
straight,
hair.
springy. I think we talked about it in
Yeah,
Janet.
it doesn't
Being able
hold
to
day.
alpacas.
Yeah,
It
exactly.
won't die and it doesn't spin
Not,
particularly
not
well
great.
either.
Yeah, not great.
Yeah.
And then the next one that you see is a beautiful James
Bond, who everybody knows.
Everybody
by now.
knows by now. And then the last one you see with the little freckled face is Fancy.
Fancy.
And Fancy is the leader of the flock, really.
Yeah. She definitely is.
Yes.
She's a small sheep.
Yeah.
She's fairly understated.
Yeah.
But you can read her bio on our stars section of our website and you get
Yeah.
a little bit of an insight into Fancy. I don't think Domino's on there. James
No.
is and Sweet Marie isn't. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to write some for
Yeah,
Domino
maybe
and Sweet
we
Marie.
need
But,
some new,
Fancy is no nonsense.
Yeah.
If you go into her field and you're up to something, she'll come right up and ask
Yeah.
you what your business is.
Yeah.
And then if you get her on board, she explains to everybody else in the flock and everything's smooth sailing.
Yeah.
If she doesn't think that you're coming across in a way she would like,
Yeah.
everybody back up. She's got them all under her finger. I don't know what she just
Yeah.
flicks her ear or rolls an eyeball
I
and
have
they
no
all
idea what they're doing.
they all do whatever.
And
So-
I can tell you that her lambs are the most well-behaved lambs.
oh,
She keeps tight control.
she had that weird one Batman that time though.
Oh.
She really lost control of that
Yeah.
kid was weird.
Yeah. That was
He was a menace, which is
Yeah.
ironic because
He was a bully.
Batman. Yeah, he was a bully.
Yeah,
which
he
is
was a
not
bully.
very Batman-like at all.
No, and our rams are usually pretty docile, I
Yeah.
have to say, but he was a problem. A little
He
bit
had
of
some
a problem.
repressed anger
He was
from his
aggressive.
overbearing mother.
Yeah, he was aggressive.
Yeah.
So
Even as a little lamb, he was
yeah.
aggressive. But
And-
other than that,
Yeah. But she's really she's amazing.
So
if you can get her moving in the direction you want the whole flock to go, then you've got
literally, if a stranger comes in, she sidles. Like we had a the dean of the veterinary school here one summer, and we went down to the field, and this little dumpy, kind of short-legged, not much to look at sheep with a speckly face marches up. You know, and looks him right in the eye. He's like, "Well, this is highly unusual. Am I being interrogated?" I don't know. He's like, "No, that's fancy. She's just making sure that you are good to go."
Yeah, checking out the cut of your jib.
Don't try to pass by until she's done her little intro.
You get the yay or nay.
Yeah.
All right, so that's it. So yes, they all have names, and those are them. And as you can tell, they have names because they all have their own little distinct personality. So not all of our sheep have names, but the ones that stand out.
A surprising number do, I would say, but not. Eventually, you run out of room to store more sheep names.
Right.
Otherwise, they probably all would, but you get to know their personalities. Yeah.
So, and Sweet Marie has a twin sister.
Yes.
Who we sometimes get mixed up. Yeah. But they're the two of them. We never named the other one for some reason.
Velvet.
Oh, okay. Was that Velvet?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Gosh, is it Velvet in the intro? They're twins.
Yeah. No, I think it's Sweet Marie.
Okay. Well, anyway, Sweet Marie and Velvet are identical, and they're both very robust, wonderful sheep.
Yes.
I only know the difference of them because of their numbers, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're going with Sweet Marie.
It's either Velvet or Sweet Marie.
Yeah. They both have names.
Yeah.
They all the things that we said about Sweet Marie also
apply to Velvet. They're really identical.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so I think that's it.
My gosh, I feel like we talked forever.
Yeah, we did.
We covered a lot.
Yeah.
Canadian politics, past, present, and future.
Yeah.
No, not future.
Lots of knitting in this one, which sometimes we've not always had. Yeah. So we already mentioned the Ravelry group, but you can join there. There's a couple of different threads going on. Yeah. There's the Smitten for Mittens Knit Along.
Yep. Smitten for Mittens Knitting Along.
I said it.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. Okay. So that finishes up on December 15th, right?
Okay. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so if you're you have your finished objects, then they need to go in there before December 15th. Before we,
I need to get knitting a pair of those mittens myself. Yeah.
And the Cocoknits thread has started, like we said, so that goes until March 31st, I think. So I've written that in the introduction, so that's it. And
we'd love a thumbs up, and please subscribe if you haven't already. You can join our newsletter either from our Facebook page or on our website at the bottom. There's a little box at the bottom in our footer that is a subscribe box for the newsletter. And also, if you think you have other knitterly friends who might enjoy our podcast, please share it on your social media if you don't mind, because we'd love to grow our audience, and it helps us get noticed by YouTube and do all the wonderful things that their magical algorithm does for you if you get discovered. I'm not sure we've been discovered yet.
Who knows what it is that they do.
I feel like we're still kind of underground.
Okay. So now the sun is shining.
Wow.
In here,
okay.
So we're
gonna say goodbye.
Can you correct that with your eye? No? Okay.
It just says it the last 10 seconds.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Great.
Okay, so, well, thanks everyone.
See you. And the next episode is our 1 year anniversary.
Yay. Hard to believe.
I know.
Okay.
Great.
Bye.